Welcome everybody to the final round of DMP 2025 here at Tor Poznań. Once again, celebrating 15 smokes of DMP. We're here for semi-pro top 16. We've already crowned our champion, which is Patrick Detmer, but we still have second and third place to go. So we're going to have to see how that goes down. And we're joined here by myself. I'm Brandon Carter. We've got Kian Reedy here with me. This is going to be the last time for the season. Let's make it a good one. You're right there, Kian.
Hello, Brandon. How are you? I'm all good. I am super excited. I'm super excited for today. We saw a crazy set of qualifying runs there yesterday, and even you can see there as the drone shot gives us, we can see somebody just dropping wheels there around outer zone 3 and outer zone 4. This track is technical, it's fast, it's got everything you want in a final. So I'm really excited to see what we get here today in battles, because there's a few sections here that, you know, chase drivers are going to have to deal with a lot of stuff, and it's going to be very difficult for them to chase some drivers in if they're not online. Like we always saw, clip 1 to 2, a lot of people missing out on clip 2, and then coming around clip 3, staying in clip 3 for as long as possible, and then as you come around to clip 4, it's very difficult. Here is our season schedule. We started off in Tor Poznań, then went to Katowice, and then Tor Kielce, and now we are here in Tor Poznań. So you are joining us on the 28th today, and we will be getting started very soon with our semi-pro category. Brandon, from yesterday's proceedings, what do you think is going to be the hardest part of the track in battles today?
Definitely the transition from 2 to 3. As you can see here, here's our day's schedule. Obviously, we're just going to be starting out the semi-pro class very shortly on the top 16. And then after that, at 12:45 Polish time, we're going to be moving on to the top 32 for the pro category. And then the paddock will be opening at 2:30 for everyone to go and meet the drivers. And then at 3:30, we'll be continuing with the top 16 for pro. So make sure you tune in later for the pro category as well, as this is where things will get seriously intense. These boys have been pushing so hard, even between both classes. Obviously, we have Bartosz Ostalaski topping out our qualifying here in semi-pro. So it's going to be a very interesting day, as you can see there. We have a lot of drivers getting gridded up and ready to go for their battles. There's the rallycross track outside about Gian on the right.
Cześć, dzień dobry, Kamil Michałowski z tej strony. Ja dziś będę waszym przewodnikiem po wszystkim tym, co będzie działo się na nitce toru i nieopodal nitki toru. Wywiady z zawodnikami, wszystko to, co będzie działo się na tej nitce, to moje dzisiejsze zadanie.
Wiktoria, witam was serdecznie. Ja na bieżąco pokazuję wam na naszych social mediach, co aktualnie dzieje się na torze. Ale mam dla was dzisiaj też zadanie i pewien challenge dla naszych komentatorów, ponieważ prośba do naszych kibiców jest taka: rzucajcie randomowe słowa na czat, a nasi komentatorzy muszą wpleść je w transmisję.
Jest godzina, chwilę po 11, także za chwilę zaczynamy, a to ostatnia runda w sezonie 2025, więc niezależnie w sumie skąd jesteście i skąd nas oglądacie, to jeszcze zdążycie do Poznania na finały dojechać, do czego zachęcamy, bo pogoda dopisuje, choć nie dajcie się zwieść, zabierzcie ze sobą coś cieplejszego, jeżeli wybieracie się na Tor Poznań. No to co, semi-pro? Zaczynamy?
Semi-pro, zaczynamy.
So there's Victoria and Camille, both handling our social media and trackside interviews. So a big thank you to them for everything they do. So make sure you check out all of our social media. So moving on to our driver standing, this is where we're looking at. Obviously, Patrick Detmer cannot be caught up with now. So he is our champion for semi-pro, but Maximilian Mikus and Wojciech Fabiszak are in the fight for second and third, as well as Wojciech Godowicz. This is definitely going to be an interesting one, as it could be anyone could come in and kind of upset the standings, really, towards the bottom from the 10th all the way up to third and second, really. So we'll have to see what happens as we move on into battles. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one, as I mean, it's been an incredible season. As you can see here, as we move on, we've got Mijo Godowes. God, I cannot do names, Kian. What is going on? You're the better one at these names.
Yeah, we have Mijo Godowski. We have Herhi Zamfir, Daniel Pelican, Mike Tesler. We got Daniel Viltek. We've got Daniel Shreks. Like all these guys throughout the season we've been watching, we were kind of going, do you know what? These guys could be the next best thing. And do you know what? Really, that top three at the moment, I think, are very deserving to be in pro category. Like, these guys are very good drivers. So it's very, very interesting to see how good these semi-pro guys are. But we're going to take a quick look at our track layout for today. So our track layout, as we get a lovely drone shot here of our inner clip 5, we'll have a look from the start line. So here we are, the start line, the modal start line. We'll leave the start line chicane and power down this short little run up, but a lot of guys getting a lot of speed through here into the decel just before outer zone 1. From outer zone 1, you want to carry a nice wide line around to outer zone 2. Do want to stay nice wide. Do not drop the wheels. We saw a few guys dropping wheels there yesterday. As we leave outer zone 2, we want to have a mid-track transition around back out wide to outer zone 3. This is the biggest zone on the track, and it's where a lot of points are up for grabs, the most amount of points on the track. Then we'll come down to the center section, big Manji section here. We'll have 2 very quick transitions before we come into the decel just at clip 4. After clip 4, we come over a little bit of a bump there at that green piece of tarmac and around to inner clip 5 and across the line. Brandon, this track is unbelievably technical, and it takes a very, very high quality set of drivers to make sure that they're perfect here. So chase drivers are going to be struggling sometimes if they're not getting the proper lead, but it'll be very interesting to see how judges deem that with leads and chases and who's at fault. I think there's going to be a lot of upset here.
Definitely. Obviously, on the initiation, you can see the half-track line there for the chase to utilize. But besides that, let's get to it in the top 16 here at Tor Poznań at DMP 2025. We've got the judges here all sitting nice and ready. They've been eager to get this all underway. As you can see there, we have all of our amazing judges, Kian.
Yeah, we have Piri Verkula, Mateusz Djedzik, David Klass, and Karol Jublinski. And we'll hear from David.
Thank you very much. We are ready for semi-pro. A lot of people would think that this class is not that exciting as the other ones. However, drivers are having way more similar conditions. They're running on the same tires. So the battles will be very close, and we are very eager to see the action on the track.
Thank you, David. Obviously, these guys have been keeping an eagle eye throughout the entire season. So now we get to see the biggest battles, I do think, of the entirety of this season of DMP. Considering at this point, it's the end of the season, cars are going to be... they've got time to rebuild for next season. So this is where it gets exciting. Obviously, you can see all of our partners and sponsors with all of their inflatables. We need more of that in drifting. It's inflatable stuff for partners. It looks really, really cool. But as you can see there, Tor Poznań being an absolutely stellar track, a great motorsport complex overall for many disciplines. But obviously, this weekend, we get to show off the beautiful sport that is drifting. So let's move on to the top 16 here at Semi-Pro of the DMP 2025, celebrating 15 years of smoke. So here we go. We get to kick things off with a crazy battle. Obviously, we got our top qualifier in the lead with Bartosz Ostrowski, with Sebastian in the chase. This is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, Bartosz having probably the best qualifying of his season, I do believe, kid.
Yeah, Bartosz Ostrowski having a very good qualifying session there, but he comes up against Sebastian Karaszewski. Then we have Michał Godzelewski versus Bartłomiej Ozorczyk. With Damian Witek versus Wojtek Godziewicz, Maximilian Majkos versus Mateusz Włodarczyk, Wojtek Fabiszak versus Daniel Schreck, Daniel Pelikan versus Dariusz Malazinski, Patrick Detmer versus Runarsson. We've got Vaclav Burian versus Magdalena Malazinska as well. But we will go to our first battle, Brandon. Bartosz Ostrowski versus Sebastian Karaszewski.
Yep, definitely. This is going to be a great battle. Obviously, Sebastian is going to be wanting to take down our top qualifier. Obviously, P16 in qualifying. So we'll have to see what happens here, as Bartosz did have an incredible lead line in his qualifying. But obviously, he does drive with his feet. So let's see what he can do as they initiate it now to out of clip 1. Coming around now to out of clip 2. This is looking good in the lead so far. But Sebastian's right there on the tail of Bartosz as he comes around. Oh, just almost touching wheel to wheel. Maybe just a nudge there as he come out of zone 3. Transitioning through the Manji section. Transitioning into 4. But Bartosz does come up short, as well as Sebastian. He does do a wheel drop. So it's quite a messy run so far between the two of them as they come across the line. So as you can see here, going into the run. Good transition there from Sebastian. Bartosz doing a solid lead from up to here. Obviously just dropping, but it does get nudged by Sebastian there, looks like, from wheel to wheel. But luckily, there was a good recovery between the two of them. So we'll have to see what the judges think of that. Obviously, we've got second half of the battle to go, but they did both make big mistakes here, so it could even out, to be fair. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. We're not judges, so it's one of those where we'll have to see what happens in the second half.
Yeah, Brandon, absolutely. So we will see what happens in the second half of this battle. Scrappy run from both guys there, unfortunately. But like I was gonna say, like this, we had pros out just before this on different tires, so the grip levels are slightly different to what these guys would prefer. Maybe a little bit more grip down there than they would have liked. Now Bartosz doesn't really have that excuse because he's got 1,000 horsepower, but Sebastian dealing with a little bit less horsepower, that can be a factor that can affect a battle.
Yep, definitely. So we'll have to see. Obviously, yesterday, grip levels were absolutely insane. So even in semi-pro, but so we'll have to see how they deal with this. Obviously, Bartosz is going to be going to this carefully, as there was wheel potential contact in the first half of the battle. So, but then he is losing pace. Sebastian doing a solid lead so far. Bartosz is coming nowhere to be seen so far as we come around through the middle section in the Margie, coming to outside zone 4. Sebastian's on a solid lead so far, but Bartosz is just not there in the argument. He is. Wow, it's definitely a bit of a shake-up there in the battle. I don't know whether that was tactics or if that was just him not ready for the pace.
It might have started off as tactics, but then kind of realization of, oh, I need to get a little bit closer here to avoid an inactive chase, which a lot of this run may end up being, unfortunately, for Bartosz. That lead line from Sebastian is unbelievable. It's very, very good. There's one wheel drop there, but Bartosz here is just playing the game of catch-up the whole way through this run, unfortunately. You can see him transitioning directly after. If he's wanting to play catch-up there, you should be kind of trying, transition at the same time as Sebastian to try and make a dive down, but doesn't seem to be doing that. So, unfortunately, I think that run will be deemed an inactive chase for a lot of it for Bartosz Stolarski, or Bartosz Ostrowski even. Not Bartosz Stolarski. But we'll have to see what the judges make of that one, Brendan.
Definitely. I mean, for an inactive chase to be enacted by judges, it does have to be quite a serious gap, to the point where they're not in the same sector almost. So we'll have to see. But obviously, it's a difficult one, because technically Bartosz was kind of there, but It's interesting way to start the top 16, that is for sure, as they were both very scrappy in the start of the run. As you can see, Sebastian there, he's like, I'm not too sure. As it's incredible how these feet control cars work. Obviously, we've got a guy called Paddy in Scotland who has a hand-controlled vehicle, and is some serious engineering that goes into those cars. So it's even to the car builders, that is a big achievement, that is. And it just goes to show that no matter what happens in life, no matter what situation you're put through, there's always a way around it. But obviously that E92 having a lot of power is a crazy car, but Sebastian definitely shown that he's got pace on him as well. And to be fair, with the lower power on the equal tyre, sometimes you can utilize more mechanical grip through having less power, because you got to think Bartos could be just spinning.
Yeah, especially with the BMWs, BMWs tend to have quite a lot of mechanical grip to begin with. So when you have a smaller power car versus a higher power car, you can end up with a good bit of pace advantage. As we get one more time there for that first battle, and we do get a...
Yeah, we're starting with really not easy call to be made. We saw significant mistake from Bartek in outer zone 3. He put wheel off and he slowed down in position where it should be full throttle area. That affected the Chaser a lot. However, Chaser should redeem himself at outer zone 4 and continued till the end. But Kickster put wheel off and he straightened up. Straightening, it needs to be really major straightening to put the 0 there. So we are having like very low score from both drivers, because Bartek did also big mistake in the last corner, going too much inside. When we go to the second run, Kickster provided really nice lead, which was really chaseable, and Bartek did not done his job correctly. So we were not able to determine a clear winner from that battle. And we would like to see that one more time. Clean it up, guys, and show us better battle.
Yeah, so big thank you to David Class there for giving full transparency. We do love that here at DMP. We like to give you guys, the spectators, and to be honest, Brandon, me and you, the explanations there to why a call went a certain way. We get it wrong quite a bit, unfortunately, but we do move back to the line. Is Michał Godrzewski versus Bartłomiej Ozorczyk on the line. And Brandon, both these guys had a very good qualifying yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. Bartłomiej definitely shown a bit more of his actual capabilities. Obviously, in previous rounds in the season, he has definitely struggled a little bit more. But it's good to see him back on form again, as we have Michał in the lead in that S13. Let's see if they can stay on that form as they come down the main straight now, coming into outer zone 1. Nice initiation from Michał, but kind of just not really anywhere. I mean, they are kind of a bit shallow on outer zone 3. As they come around into the Margie section now, the proximity is starting to get a bit closer, but once again, Michał's kind of just walking away, but his line is not the best. It's going to be a difficult one for both of these drivers in the second half.
This is what we were kind of talking about before battles, Brandon. It's very hard on this track for somebody to chase in a lead where there's a lot of technicalities, where like some people are cutting angle in certain areas to get out to other areas. So Bartłomiej there Ozorczyk is having to kind of adapt to them mistakes very, very quickly, but again, you don't really want to fully trust it because this track is so fast. It's very difficult to try counter a mistake or make a dive. Like just here you can see in the chase where that dive was made, but it's a little bit too little too late. But the lead line isn't really great either. Like the initiation from 2 to 3 as well was also a little bit shaky. So we'll bring them back to the line. We'll get Michał to chase in Bartłomiej Ozorczyk, and we will see what happens.
Yep, obviously Bartłomiej not doing too bad in the chase, just wasn't very consistent. But then again, Michał was just not very consistent in the lead either. So we'll have to see what they do. Obviously, they've got to both clean it up to make a concise decision for the judges. As they leave the line, here we go, Bartolomej now in the lead, Michał Godowicz in the chase. But there is a massive gap forming there. Going into outside zone 2, this is looking much better from Bartolomej on the lead line. A little bit of a dirt drop there, but manages to make it work as they come around now into the margin section. Michał having to do everything to try and catch up. All but he does go into the dirt as they come around now into the last section, coming through inner clip 5 and across the line. Yeah, I think that is a lot more of a clear decision this time around. Bartolomej getting a crazy gap on the initiation.
Yeah, great gap there from Bartolomej, and you can see here in the chase, Michał kind of realizes that, and he comes into a very shallow line here, coming into outer zone 3 to try and make a dive up onto the door of Bartolomej's F22. But you can see he does work, he does get up on the door, but this is the section here where it all kind of goes very wrong for him. Transition once, and then when we transition back again, Michał ends up going very wide, and he's very on the definitely in the wrong spot there for where he would have liked to be, and Bartolomej at that stage does end up just running away with it. So bit of a clear-cut decision here, Brandon, I would say. This is something that the judges won't have to look at for too long, I don't think, as Bartolomej drags the back bumper of that F22 along.
Yeah, it's definitely it's never a dull moment in semi-pro. Never a dull moment. These drivers do push quite hard. As Bartolomej gets through into the top 8. So this is a very good start to his weekend. As you can see there, he is elated. So that's what we like to see as they both celebrate each other's driving. And this is what it's all about. It's the fun. It's the seeing your friends and competitors do well. Obviously, everyone's here to win, but at the same time, you've just got to celebrate each other's victories. Because in the end, if you've had a good and fun time, that's the real victory for these drivers. Let's be honest. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. You just want that bit of success. Everybody's chasing the same thing. As we do go back to the line, we have Damien Vicek versus Wojtek Godowicz on the line. Wojtek Godowicz, this incredible GTR-kitted N3 E36, one of them stock BMW wheels on the front. Big respect for that. As we get the red lights to go green, they will leave the start line. It is Wojtek Godowicz to chase in Damien Vicek, and Godowicz does not enter. He's very late entry there as we pull around to outer zone 3. Very clean line here in the lead from Damien Vicek as we come through the center section here back towards outer zone 4 and around down into inner clip 5 and across the line. Brandon, a bit of an upset there possibly for Godowicz.
This is definitely not the Wojtek we're used to seeing. Obviously, I don't know what happened now in the initiation. I think he just got caught out by himself, and obviously this is where he has to start playing catch up as they go through into outside of zone 3. Obviously, there's just still the gap there, and he has to really try it. But he is still pouring on the angle, so he is slowly edging his way closer, even with such high angle, almost more angle than the lead driver. So it's quite impressive that the car can get that much speed in that situation. But as he comes through now to out of 4, it does start to try and close the gap, but obviously you can see that it's just not enough to get onto the pocket. So it's going to be an interesting one for the second half. He's got to put on the best lead of his life and hope that we get a mistake from the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. As we do move them back to the line, they will turn back around and get into a position. We will have Wojtek Godowicz to lead out Damien Vicek in that one series, as we see Wojtek there locked in. He's going to have to do an incredible lead line here to make up for that mistake, I believe.
I've just got I've actually just got a note from Matusz, one of our judges, that the chase straightened through the initiation line. So
yeah,
Wojtek did straighten. Potentially, yeah.
That'd be a fail to initiate, as we do get the green light off the start line. So Damien not having to do a whole foul here. He did straight through the line as well, possibly. So Wojtek Kovacic maybe getting thrown a bone here as they do go around outer zone 3, and Damian Vitek going wide there as Wojtek Kovacic brings us back down into outer zone 4 and around this bottom corner to inner clip 5 and across the line. So, Brandon, are we going to see one more time here, possibly?
Oh, it's maybe. I mean, it could be anyone's at this point. As you can see here, coming through into outer zone 3, there is a bit more proximity in the chase here already. But then he does, somehow he just ends up floating back. I'm guessing he hit a bit of marbling, which is why he flowed back. But then Wojciech just kind of does utilize that and leaves him behind as they come around. I've just noticed we get little guiding markers. Oh no, they're little oh god, my brain is not braining today. But yeah, the gap there from Wojciech to leaving out of 3 is quite serious, so it could go to a one more time. But then again, does it negate a potential 0 on the initiation? That is what we need to be thinking about here.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get both guys out of the car there, they give each other a handshake. They'll have a bit of a chat about what happened, and we'll see what the judges make of that one. They will deliberate over this one. They will have to look at everything there. Was that both drivers zeroing there? And do they compare lead to lead, or do they just go one more time? Because both drivers, in my opinion, I think zeroed in their chase there, Brandon. Both in the same way as well. They both came straight over the initiation point. So
it's going to be an interesting one, that is for sure. Obviously, thank you to Majus giving me some updates regarding judging as we go along. It's good to see that we do have direct contact with the judges as well, so it's really nice to have that clarity as we even go through the first half. But who's moving on into the top 8? And it's Damian Vitek. So, of course, Wojciech Godovic obviously having that. I think he did 0 on the initiation, and Damian obviously had that gap form, but it wasn't enough to sway it in either way. So he will be moving on into the top 8, but unfortunately, that is the end of Wojciech's weekend. Definitely not the best form we've seen him on this weekend, but obviously that is drifting. It is sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But now we have the one more time by Bartosz Ozdalaski, and we have Sebastian in the chase once again. So we're gonna have to see if that once again it's a battle of the generations. Obviously we had E82 versus E36, and now we have E92 versus E46. So it's good to see different generations of BMWs being pitted against each other. As you can see here, the light go red to green. Bartosz in the lead, Sebastian in the chase. Let's see what they can do as they initiate now into outside zone 1. Sebastian really trying to get onto the door of Bartosz, as he does a really good job of trying to get into that pocket. Does have to fall back a bit behind to get on the line as they come around into the Badger section, but Bartosz is on a better lead this time. Gets through out zone 4 nicely. A little bit of a wobble there, but Sebastian has to go through the inside and across the line. That is going to be an interesting way to look at the judges, or should I say interesting thing for the judges to look at the end.
Let's have a look there. So Bartosz out in the lead, giving a very good lead line there from the get-go. As we transition back here, you can see Sebastian kind of gets checked up a little bit, and he does try to push again, make that dive. You see him lock up that front brake and try and nose the front a little bit up further on the track. As we transition back here, is a very good transition from both guys, and then we'll transition back to outer zone 4 here. This is kind of where we see Sebastian lose a little bit of ground. He does try to make another dive here, but not really to any success. Brandon, you were mentioning judges being very transparent. That bump there, I did ask the question to David Collette how they are marking on that, and he will say it will be a case-by-case basis. So it just depends how drivers deal with that bump in the middle of the track, which is very interesting to see. So we will move them back to the line.
To be fair, that bump is just there. It's something the drivers have to deal with, and if they're not prepared for it, they've done enough practice. If it catches you out, it catches you out, and unfortunately that's just the nature of the game. But now the lights go green. Sebastian in the lead, Bartosz in the chase. Let's see what they can do. Will Bartosz get left behind again as they initiate into outside zone 1. Yes, he does have a gap forming again. Sebastian seems to be the faster driver on the initiation as they come around into out zone 3. This is looking really good from Sebastian in the lead, but Bartos actually starts to find pace now, almost over rotating in that transition. He has to straighten out as they come around now into inner clip 5. Whoa, just definitely not the best performance from Bartos there.
Yeah,
but then
Bartos,
Sebastian has got a lot of pace.
Yeah, the pace of that E46 is huge. There's a lot of pace in that car. You can see Bartos has 1,000 horsepower in that E92, but like we were saying, Brandon, the mechanical grip with the lower horsepower when you're on the same tyre as the chase driver, and both lead and chase are on the same tyre, that pace difference is very apparent, and usually the lower horsepower car that will take the biscuit on that one, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. As we see Bartos just straighten out here, just get the transition a little bit wrong, has to reinitiate, as we see Sebastian just kind of flow through the rest of the track and a little bit run away with it as they both cross the line there. Be interesting to see how the judges call this one. I think it's a fairly clear-cut decision. Unfortunately for Bartos, I believe Sebastian will get the decision on this one. As we wait for the judges' scores to drop in here, we do get a decision, and it is Sebastian Kazarzecki to move through to the top 8.
Yeah,
the top 16 there. We are not in the top 32.
Nah, he's doing another top 16 battle.
Yeah, they're going to do another one more time.
Oh God, we need to wake up and lock in.
I've got my Red Bull here. It's okay.
Oh, I need to get one. I do need to get one.
Big shout out to Red Bull supporting the championship and all of our sponsors here. Motul, we've got Tisky 00, we've got Merlo, we've got Toolmex Truck. We've all these sponsors that make this championship happen. As we move back to the line, we have Maximilian Maikos in that Max Racing S14 versus Mateusz Włodarczyk in that Spot Motorsport, Brandon, E92. That is built by David Spot, as we do get red lights illuminating, and they will go green as Mateusz tries to get the jump on Max Maikos. He knows that S14 is very fast as we come down to the initiation point. Max Maikos having a small bit of a gap here. Mateusz is going to want to make that up as he makes a dive now. Max Maikos getting into outer zone 3 a little bit late, and Mateusz making a huge dive here around outer zone 3 as we transition through the centre section here. Transition back. Mateusz right on the door of that S14 now as they come across the bump into inner clip 5 and across the line. Very, very good run here from both drivers as we will send them back to the line. Brandon, break this down.
Yep, it's definitely a good first run there between the two of them. Obviously, a little bit of a gap form there, has to cut on the inside, but manages to make it work as they come around into out of 4. Once again, the gap is still there. Obviously, in the transitions, the cars do gain a lot of speed, and if you have a lot of shallow angle here, as you can see, he does shallow up the angle, and he does get the dive up onto the door, gets back into the pocket, back into the fight, but Maximilian doing a good job in the lead, as you can see there, in that 14, absolutely just flying around the course, but not a bad job in the chase at all. Like, it's definitely a case of he's got to hope that Maximilian makes a mistake in more mistakes in the second half. Obviously, it was a good first set of runs. It's just now he's got to lock in for the lead and hopefully put on a better lead. But we've got Mateusz in the lead and Maximilian in the chase now, Kian.
Yeah, absolutely. So Max doing an incredible lead line there. A few little mistakes, but Mateusz doing a very, very good chase there to deal with some of the mistakes that Max had. As we do get red lights illuminating, we'll have Maximilian Maikos who chased in Mateusz Włodarczyk as we come through down towards the initiation point. Max Maikos initiating a little bit later than Mateusz as we come through outer zone 2, start to come through outer zone 3. Mateusz not on that wide line. Max Maikos having to make up a little bit of ground here as we come into the centre section, transition back. Max right on the door of that E92 now, doing an incredible job to catch up there as we come into inner clip 5 and across the line. Max Maikos doing an incredible run there, Brandon.
Yep, definitely. That is an incredible performance between both of these drivers. But obviously, as you can see here, not a bad start to the lead. Maximilian is utilizing that lead line to get into the pocket. But once again, this is the transition. Like I was saying earlier, this is going to be that is the most difficult point, I think, for the drivers, is going from 2 to 3, because they get caught up in the transition, then they start to have a gap form, so they have to start pushing to get back on the door. But as you can see here, he has to really try and get back into the pocket, which he manages to somewhat do between 4 and 5. Definitely could have been a bit stronger, a bit more prevalent in the chase, but a really solid lead there. So we'll have to see what the judges swing towards.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a nice view of the surrounding area. We get a nice view of the airport there, Brandon. Very, very nice track here. You get to see an airport. You get to see planes flying in, landing, taking off. And then to the other side, you have a full-on drift event. I just think this is the coolest place to have a drift event, Brandon.
I mean, Katowice was also a really interesting one because it was on an airfield. So that was very interesting as well.
Yeah, you don't have planes landing at the same time.
That is true, but moving on to top 8 is Maximilian Maikos making a more solid performance there. Unfortunately, Matthias just not being able to bring the heat. So that Max Racing driver representing ECU Master, he's going to be a happy chap. And obviously his teammate Marek is, I do believe he is in the top 32 in pro. So both of these boys are going to be pushing hard.
Yeah,
as we have
move back
the
to
line.
The Barra-powered S14 Wojtek Fabishak versus Daniel Schrex in that F22 BMW, or is that an E46? That could be an E46. I don't have them notes at the moment. But
hey, Kian,
it doesn't matter. It's got an F22 kit. So we get the red lights to illuminate. We go to the green lights, and we will send them down the main straight as Wojtek Fabishak goes through the gears. Daniel Schrex to follow him in.
Whoa!
Do we have a restart here?
Potentially, maybe a false start, or was there is Wojtek Fabishak's car? Yeah, I mean, could be a power issue.
A lot there.
I mean, the car's still running under its own power, but was there a fault that was thrown up and the ECU maybe cut the car and stopped it from going on to power?
No boost, maybe one of them safeties kicking in from the ECU. There's a numerous amount of things that could have happened there. As we do get a replay.
I don't.
There wasn't even an attempt there to initiate from either drivers. I didn't see any red flags or anything, so.
Nah, it just felt like having a bit of a parade lap.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to say. It's definitely hard to say. You know what? I was literally about to say before these two set off. Jinx, Kian. you owe me a Red Bull.
Okay, we can do that one.
That is a very interesting way to start this battle, though. Obviously, Wojtek Fabishak's been on an absolute heater this season, so it's really interesting to see something like this happen to him in his top 16 for the final. Obviously, does it come down to a false start, or is it that they're going to get flipped around? They are, so it is. I don't know if Dan. Honestly, I have no words. Genuinely have no words.
So that first run is void, apparently, so it doesn't matter. These guys just didn't initiate. So we will move on to the second half of this battle. Wojtek Fabishak to chase in Daniel Schrex there in that M2 F22. As Wojtek Fabishak leads the line to chase in Daniel Schrex. He's going to go right on the back bumper here off this F22 as they initiate through outer zone 1, through outer zone 2 now as well. Daniel Schrex being a very tidy lead line here as he gets into outer zone 3. We have Wojtek Fabishak having a little bit of a wobble there, trying to get up onto the door of that F22 as we come into that center section here now. Wojtek Fabishak making up a little bit of ground, but that F22 is so fast through this track. It is very hard to gain on an advantage on, Brandon.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, Wojtek not initiating in the first half of the battle. It's got to be clear cut. I'm just sending a message to Matthias to see if we can find out what happened to Fabishak at the first half.
And as we look at the chat here, we have one of the secrets in chat. Hello, welcome. Big turnout yesterday for the Icelandic drivers in Pro. So as we watch this replay here, we can see the pace of that BMW F22 is nuts. The grip in that car and how smooth you can have these cars operating is unbelievable. The fluidity that you can have is very, very, very good, Brendan.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously, Daniel will be moving on into the top 8. I'm just trying to get some information about what happens to Wojciech. Even the judges have no idea. Even the judges, I have no clue.
So it must be Wojciech Fabiszak having the issue and just not initiating there, and maybe missing a gear, having maybe gearbox troubles, clutch troubles. We don't know. We'll have to figure that out at some point. As we do move it on to our next battle, Brandon, our next battle will be Daniel Pelikan versus Dariusz Malazinski. As we wait for them to pull to the line, I believe we have one car on the line, but not the other. Can't really see who that is on the line. As we do have Dariusz Malazinski on the line, but we do not have a Daniel Pelikan. So
potentially problems in practice. So it will be a bye run. So if any of you... Oh, Kian, what are we doing? If you weren't here for qualifying, this is basically what you would have seen. So we get a nice little look at how the layout runs, and this is good practice. Obviously, he doesn't have to do the full course. All he has to do is initiate the first corner and do the first corner just to show that the car is capable. But he was like, you know what, seat time.
We did see that last round. Nasser Al-Harbali got a bye run somewhere. I think it was top 16 or the top 8. And he didn't even really complete the corner. He just had to initiate and get through the first zone. And that was it. He shut the car down because he was having issues last round. But you can see here, this is really a good point to show you guys where on the track is an issue. So as we come through this center section here, we transition back towards outer zone 4. You'll see the green tarmac coming up here just after outer zone 4 right about now. You see this bump here. That can upset a lot of cars, and it was yesterday in qualifying. So drivers having to deal with a little bit of added pressure there to make sure that the car does not change attitude there and looks very smooth going over that bump, which can be very hard to do, Brandon.
Definitely, but now we have our champion, our 2025 DMP semi-pro champion, Patrick Detmer, going against a new driver for this round, which is Hrafnel, I'm hoping I said that correctly, Hrafnel Rinsen, in that E36 compact. Obviously two of the same generation, one coupe, one compact. It's not something you see really often in competitive drifting, as you can see here as they leave the line. The new driver to the round is going to try and put the paces in the champion as they come around to outside zone 2. Patrick Detmer is looking like he's on a much better lead than he was in qualifying so far as he comes around out zone 3, transitioning across through the magic. But look at this from Runarsson right there in the pocket, and look at the dive onto the side of Patrick Detmer. We're almost pushing him around into clip 5. I will get that right, I swear to God. But what an incredible run between the two of these.
Yeah, absolutely. So Runarsson had a little bit of a check up there halfway through. Here you can see he's not really on power, has to straighten out and then reinitiate onto the side of Patrick Detmer's car, as Patrick Detmer does a flawless lead line here. He does a very, very good, tidy job. He does get a little bit wide here at the end of outer zone 3, but that's nothing really to worry about as they transition back here. The transition here did not make sense. Look at how close Runarsson is on to the back of the bumper of the E36 of Patrick Detmer as they come across the bump here and down towards inner clip 5. Doing a very tidy job are both drivers in the lead and the chase here, so we will have to switch them around and see what happens. I believe Patrick Detmer is confirmed as your 2025 champion of semi-pro, so he will be gaining that pro license, I believe, as we move it back to the line here, Brandon.
Yep, so we've got Runarsson in the lead now. We've got Detmer in the chase. Obviously, Runarsson's really wanted to come in and shake things up, but I'm guessing Detmer was just having a quick little cool down before he comes back to the line, and possibly Spotter telling him what he needs to do. as we have them both prepped and ready to go. Also, a big shout out to all of our camera crew who have been working tirelessly through every round of every bit of this season. Getting all of us these amazing shots to watch as we have the lights go green. Patrick Demmer now in the chase. 2 E36s, we'll have to see what they can do. Look at this from Patrick Demmer, right on the rear of Runarsson as they come through out zone 1 to out zone 2. Patrick Demmer could have been a little bit more consistent there as they come through to... Oh, but Runarsson getting a bit too much angle. He pulls away. That is a big mistake for this E36 compact driver as they come around now in towards our inner clip 5. Detmer does lose a lot of ground, but obviously Runarsson makes that mistake, causing him to fall back.
Yeah, absolutely. So mistakes from both drivers in the lead and the chase here, Brandon. As we enter in, Patrick Detmer isn't as close as he would have liked here, so he does have to shallow up a bit of angle, but Runarsson does miss that outer zone 2 as we transition back here. Runarsson gets back onto that right line there into outer zone 3. Detmer does make a big dive up onto the door there, but Runarsson has a little bit of an issue, has to come out of outer zone 3 very, very early. Detmer having to deal with that as they transition back through the center section here. Detmer trying to make up a little bit of ground here, transitioning at the exact same time as Runarsson trying to make that dive. Does end up missing outer zone 4. Runarsson makes it over the bump there as Detmer is a lot further inside to try make up that ground, but I'm going to hazard a guess here, Brandon. I'm going to think that Patrick Detmer gets the win on this one.
Potentially, obviously, we're not judges, so we'll have to see what they say. But
well, everyone can make fun of me in the chat afterwards when I'm wrong, but...
as we just await on a judge's decision. Two really cool looking cars. I won't lie. I'm a sucker for a 36 compact. But moving on into the top 8, Patrick Detmer moving on. So just solidifying his points even more when he doesn't even have to. What a legend. Runarsson doing a really good battle there. So really good stuff between the two of them.
I think Patrick Detmer will want to win this event today as he's after winning the 2025 championship. So he's going to solidify that and say, look, this wasn't a fluke. I'm deserving to be here. I'm going to put it on top spot today. As we do go back to line with Vaclav Burian versus Magdalena Malazinska, Brandon.
Yep, obviously Burian Vaclav. I did the exact same as you then. Oh God, what is wrong with me today? We've got Vaclav Burian and Magdalena. Obviously, Vaclav is really wanting to show his ability, obviously being one of the youngest drivers on our grid, as well as one of the lowest horsepower cars on the grid against a Spot Up Motorsport S15. So this is a big switch. It's a big difference between these two cars. But look at the gap from Vaclav Burian as it comes around into our zone 2. I don't think Magdalena expected the pace from this as they come around to our zone 3. This 46 compact is absolutely flying as they come around through the mountain section now into our zone 4. This is the Vaclav Burian we all know and love. When he locks in, he is locked in, and this is what we like to see as they come across the line. The mighty 46 compacts that could.
Yeah, Magdalena maybe just getting caught a bit off guard there with the pace of that E46 as we come through outer zone 1. It is unbelievable the gap here as Magdalena does use the rest of the run to just try play a game of catch-up. Vaclav Burian doing a very good job in the lead here, running that qualifying line, not doing a whole pod run in the lead here as Magdalena is still making up that pace the whole time, and she does manage to close the gap a bit, but I think it's just a little bit too little too late here for Magdalena, unfortunately, as Burian still on that perfect qualifying line in that E46. It's a very tidy run here from Burian, Brandon.
I mean, this is what he's known for. It's when he gets into battles, he shines, and this just goes to prove it. Obviously, Magdalena definitely not expecting the pacing of that little 46 compact, but she's always happy, so that's all that matters as we move around to Burian's 46. It's such a cool little car. Like, it's so fast for what it is. But then again, the less horsepower you have, the harder you can push to get it to do what you need to do. And generally, there is a little bit more speed in that. And obviously, the 46s are known for having a lot of mechanical grip as well. So we'll have to see what they can do in the second half. But obviously, Vaclav knows he's got less horsepower, so he has to get a little bit of a run up there, but doesn't manage to make it work. as they come around now. There's once again another gap forming there. Vaclav manages to get the transition, starts pulling up into the pocket of Magdalena as they come around 3 hours, zone 3 into the managing section, transitioning over into 4, but Vaclav Burian is right there in the pocket of that S15 as they come around, pushing that spot off S15 across the line. What a solid performance there from Vaclav, obviously just having that little bit of a gap at start, but manages to make it work. So as you can see there, coming around into our 3, this is where he starts to get the dive back. And just look at this. Really pushing into that pocket. Being the shorter car after 2 as well, he can really utilize that as he comes around into the transition. Magdalena obviously doing nothing wrong in the lead either, doing a really nice lead for Vaclav Burian to chase as they come around towards inner clip 5. Maybe just getting a bit too tight there into inner 5, but manages to come across the line nice, safe and sound.
Yeah, Burian doing a very good job there in the chase. He made up that gap so quick, as he did get caught originally by Magdalena with the pace of that S15, but like when you have both cars in drift, it is and you have the side bite, and Vaclav Burian getting the win there, 450 horsepower versus 700 horsepower, and using all of that 450 horsepower was Vaclav Burian to make up that gap. As we do move into our top 8, and we do have the bracket here, it is Sebastian Kazrzek versus Bartolomew Ozorczyk, Damian Wojtek versus Maximilian Maikos, Daniel Schrex versus Dariusz Malazinski, and we have Patrick Detmer versus Vaclav Burian. I am excited for that last battle of the top 8 there, Brendan. Patrick Detmer versus Vaclav Burian.
Yeah, that's going to be something. That went really quickly. It's crazy how fast the top 16 can go. But now we go into the next stage of battles, which is the top 8. So now we have at the line. This is a crazy looking car. Actually, is this a drift taxi?
Little drift taxi display here as we get both those E46. We saw them swinging around yesterday doing some donuts and some figure of 8 down in the center section here as they initiate through, and they're just having fun as we have one of them nearly go off track there. These cars are so cool. I love the styling of these. They're very much Polish spec. I believe this is when I think of Poland,
would say it's a very
four-door E46 with that Hot Boy livery, and it is so cool.
It is pretty baller.
They take that final out livery style and just make it their own, and it works completely. I'm so here for it.
Doing some well. They're doing exactly what you Irish boys. They're doing exactly what you Irish boys love doing, and it's rings, lad.
We love doing a few rings, lad, and they are doing some very tasty rings there, as my old mates on the sim would have been saying quite a long time ago. But yeah, those guys put on a show for the spectators. We do have another drift taxi display, I believe, as we just are taking a short break here to make sure all our drivers are ready, as we only have 4 battles and...
Ona tam ma mówić? Jak widać na załączonym obrazku, można w Poznaniu nie tylko przyjść i oglądać, jak się driftuje, ale można też zasiąść na fotelu pasażera, nie tylko w driftowozie. Ty byłaś w driftowozie?
Tak, jak najbardziej i polecam każdemu, bo to są naprawdę niesamowite emocje, ale oprócz tego, że możemy przejechać się w driftowozie, to ja też latałam helikopterem, co bardzo polecam, bo słuchajcie, drift z lotu ptaka to jest naprawdę coś niesamowitego.
No szczególnie, że znajdujemy się niedaleko lotniska, więc tutaj w ogóle jest taki klimacik bardzo sympatyczny, jeśli chodzi do oglądania tego z góry. No ale podczas tej ostatniej rundy Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski, poza Drift Taxi mamy jeszcze Race Taxi, którym możecie przejechać się ze Stigiem. To w drugiej nitce toru. Szukajcie wszystkich informacji pod namiotem fundacji. Tam trzeba się udać, żeby się ze Stigiem przejechać.
A jeśli chodzi o Drift Taxi, to znajdziecie ich na końcu padoku i również tam znajdziecie Heli Solution, gdzie możecie, tak jak wcześniej wspomniałam, przylecieć się helikopterem, popatrzeć, jak to wszystko wygląda, nasz legendarny Tor Poznań. No i driftowóz, myślę, że każdy powinien fan driftu spróbować chociaż raz.
Nie da się tego opowiedzieć, trzeba to po prostu przeżyć, więc no mamy jeszcze kilka godzin, jeśli jesteście z Poznania, okolic Poznania, ale nie tylko, to dacie radę na pewno tutaj do nas dotrzeć na zakończenie sezonu, czyli 4. rundę Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski na Torze Poznań.
So a nice little look there at the track. Obviously, we got Cameron and Victoria on the scene to make sure that we have everything we need on both social media on the side. So welcome to the top 8 of, I almost said top 16 then, of semi-pro here. Once again, we are going to be moving on to our bracket.
As we do have Sebastian Karaszewski to take on Bartolomew Ozorczyk, Damian Wojtek to take on Maximilian Moikos, Daniel Schrex to take on Darius Malazinski, and then our final battle for the top 8, Patrick Detmer versus Vaclav Burian. I am very excited for this top 8, Brandon. This is going to be extremely, extremely cool.
Definitely. I mean, look at the crowd that we're getting now coming in to enjoy the drifting. But we have Bartolomew at the line now with Sebastian in the chase. So we're going to have to see what these two can do. Obviously, Bartolomew having a good battle in his first battle of the day in the top 16, as well as Sebastian having a lot of pace. So we'll have to see what the difference is between these two drivers as we get them ready to leave the line. So here we go. Red lights go on. Now they go green. Let's see what they can do. Bartolomew, will you have the pace to keep away from Sebastian, or will he stay on your door as they initiate into outer zone 1? Oh, but a mistake there from Sebastian. Catching a bit of fun, maybe oversteer as they come into outer zone 3. Looking pretty solid from Bartolomew so far in the lead as Sebastian tries to get back onto the pocket of that F22, coming around through outer zone 4. Not too shabby. Sebastian does get onto the door, almost taps the rear to rear of Bartolomew's F22.
Yeah, let's break this down. What happened here to Sebastian? Just kind of, got onto the dirt when he went to initiate there. So unfortunate there for Sebastian, as we have Bartolomew doing a very nice lead line here, doing exactly what he needs to do in the lead to kind of allow the chase to get onto the door of that F22. But you can see Sebastian there has a lot of pace, but it's not enough really to keep up with Bartolomew. Bartolomew in that very, very fast F22 BMW. As they come across the bump here, you can see the angle. A lot of drivers using it to angle up the car, as Bartolomew kind of has a bit of a straighten there through inner clip 5, and Sebastian gets right up onto the back bumper of that F22. As we move it back to the line, we will swap them around, Brandon.
Yep, so now we're going to have to see what they can do. Obviously, a big mistake from Sebastian in the chase, but will it happen to Bartolomew as we have them swapped around now? Obviously, Sebastian's got a lot of pace in the lead, so we'll have to see if Bartolomew has the pace to keep up with that E46 as they're coming through out zone 1 into out zone 2. Bartolomew has a gap formed, but manages to kind of be there in the pocket. But Sebastian doing a big wheel drop there in out zone 3 as they transition around through the managing section into out zone 4. Definitely a much more solid chase from Bartolomew, I've got to say, as they come across the line. I definitely think it's going to come down from lead to lead, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Lead to lead for sure, as you see Sebastian kind of running away with it there, as Bartolomew not really there in the chase. As Sebastian does do a very tidy job there to get into outer zone 3, but unfortunately just washes wide, catches that dirt as Bartolomej does get up onto the side of the E46. Then that does allow him to push up a little bit closer as they transition back here towards outer zone 4. You can see Bartolomej tries to make another dive, doesn't really make up a huge amount of ground on the side of the E46 as they come down the hill into inner clip 5 and across the line. Bartolomej does manage to catch Sebastian towards the end there, so we will see what the judges make of this one as both drivers get out of the cars. If you're in attendance, give them a big round of applause. Brandon, that was a very interesting battle.
Yeah, definitely, to say the least. But as we get them ready for the judges' decision, obviously Bartolomej is definitely on a heater today so far. This is probably the best driving we've seen from him in a while, so it's good to see. But Sebastian is enjoying his time here as well. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one. It's just going to come, I think it's going to come down to how many more mistakes was made in either side. So we do wait on the judges' call. I can tell Bartolomej is really, really wanting this. You can see it in his face. He's just like, please, just let me have this. Like, he wants to go far in this round. As we just wait on the judges' call. Obviously, look at you know what? Some of these helmets are incredible. I've been looking at buying one for when I start driving. They're not cheap. They are not cheap.
Are not.
Even the race suits themselves.
You can't even scrimp out on safety, though. That's the one thing you do not scrimp out and try to go cheap with. It's the one thing that's probably going to save your life when it comes to it. But yeah, we wait for the judges' decision to drop in. Judges will be deliberating this one. It's a very interesting battle for this. A lot of mistakes and a lot of just weird things that happen in that battle with both drivers in both their leads and both their chases. So we will have to see what the judges are making of this one, because I'm kind of thinking myself this could be a one more time, because how long the judges are taking, number one, but I'm kind of trying to think of who had more mistakes, and I can't really tell from either driver, Brandon.
I do think it's going to come down to Sebastian's lead. I think that'll be a massive point of contention. But moving on into the top 8. Bartolomej moving on into the top 8. Oh, sorry, top 4. Oh, God. Top 4, sorry. God. Oh, God. I keep thinking we're in the top 32 bracket, but we're not. So, no, he is moving on into the top 4. So, Bartolomej is going really far into today's competition compared to any other round. But a great job there from Sebastian regardless. As we have at the line, we do have Damian Vitek and Maximilian Maikos. Battle of Tornado Grey cars, that is to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Damian Vitek in that one series there. Maximilian Maikos in that Max Racing S14. Both of these cars are very, very cool. Obviously, I love the S14. Big fan of the S14. I love an S chassis. But we will see what comes out on top here. Japanese engineering or German engineering. So we wait for the marshal to give our guys the thumbs up as we get that Trackwood sticker on the back of Damian Vitek's car. Damian, this is his first round this season, as we do have the start line marshal out of the way of the lights here. Now we might be getting the lights to illuminate as he makes sure both drivers are ready, and we get them locked in to send down the track for their battle. Damian Vitek obviously getting P4 in qualifying yesterday, having a very good qualifying session yesterday. And we have Max Maikos, who placed 5th. So these guys are very, very close in qualifying. So we will get the lights to illuminate red, and they will go green now in a second. As they go green now, Max Maikos to chase in Damian Vitek in that E82 BMW. As we send down into the initiation point, Max Maikos, a little bit of a gap there. As we transition back to outer zone 3, Max very much on the bumper as he shuts it down, and Damian Vitek has to just drive on. As we see Max Maikos get back into the battle there. Something very wrong there on that transition just after there's on 3. So something not going to plan there from Max Maikos, Brandon.
Definitely. I mean, I think what happened here is he got caught up in the transition, or less, well, I wouldn't say caught, but as you can see, he transitions early, ends up in the wrong space, and doesn't have the pace to get onto the door, and he has to shallow up the angle to the point where he's basically almost straight to try and get back into the fight. As you can see there, maybe missed the clutch kick, so maybe just bucked the engine a little bit. It's hard to say. Obviously, Damien Witek doing nothing wrong. Potentially, yeah. It's a case of Damien Witek did a great job in the lead, did everything he needed to do. So now it's kind of all put onto Maximilian's shoulders, really. It's all down to him and what he makes with the rest of this.
Yeah, very hard to gain an advantage in the lead position, though, because the chase can always just, you know, vary how close they are to the lead driver with proximity and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier for Damien to get the win here rather than Max, but we will not make that decision yet, as we do get the lights to illuminate and they go green. Max Maikos to lead out Damien Witek in that BMW E82 at S14, powering down towards outer zone 1 here as we go towards outer zone 2. Not on outer zone 2 at all is Max Maikos, as he misses outer zone 3 here as well. Damien Witek just mimicking that lead run as best he can. Stays in the pocket there, stays a little bit back as he does drop a wheel here on outer zone 4. Max Maikos having a bit of a nightmare there at the start of the run, but I think that will be all she wrote for this weekend for Maximilian Maikos, Brendan.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think I have to agree there. Obviously, just completely missing out of zone 2, which is, once again, a massive point of, I mean, even here, just missing 3 as well. There's not really anything to come back with here, unfortunately, and it's just the nature of the beast, though. It's unless you give it your all, it's just not going to play out the way you expect. As you can see there, it does get into our zone 4, but does miss out on a lot of the zones that are crucial to a lead.
Damien Witek doing a very good job to mimic the mistakes as well in the lead, which is what the judges want to see. They want to see the chase mimicking the lead as best as possible. Even if they're not online, the judges prefer to see the chase car mimicking the lead and what the lead car is doing, as they have a bit of an embrace there. They talk about what happened. They'll have a bit of a conversation as we wait for the judges' scores to drop in for this top 8 battle. Who will be going through to the top 4 between Max Maikos and Damien Witek. Both lovely looking cars as we wait for the judges' decision to drop in. Which Polish man will be going through?
Look at them. They're both loving their lives. That's all they care about. They're at the final. They're having a good time and having a good chat. I'm surprised they can hear each other through the helmets, to be honest. Especially with the way the helmets are. You can see their cheeks are squished. Very tight helmets.
Yeah,
as we just wait on that.
Judges deliberating on this one, I think, a little bit. Just making sure that they're seeing everything the right way. They will double check and triple check everything because they do not want to make a mistake here. And like, it is a judge sport, mistakes can be made, but so they want to make sure that they are right in making their decision. And we've seen it a couple of times where people kind of raise eyebrows about judging decisions throughout this season in particular. A lot of people questioning a lot of judging decisions through the whole world, not just here in DMP, but across everywhere. There's been some questions raised with judging decisions, but we will see what happens here between these two guys. A lot of mistakes there from Max Maikos in both his lead and his chase. So Damien doing a fairly good job there, and for his first round this season, Brandon, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, definitely. I've just had a message from Matoush. They're just having a problem with the system. The verdict is ready. They're just waiting on the system to go back up so we can get our result confirmed and locked in. It wouldn't be a weekend of DMP without technical issues. Technology hates everything. Like, it just doesn't make things.
You can
honestly
test all you want before an event. If it doesn't work at the event, most of the time you'll test it the day before and it'll be all perfect. As soon as you start to run something, it breaks. It's always the case with
every time.
technology, unfortunately. But
It was the same with
to drop in.
It was the same with Benedict's car in pro qualifying yesterday. He had a issue with the steering rack binding, and that's what caused a bit of issues. He had a couple of issues with the car, but then, which was a bit of a mental throw off, really. I was talking to him about it last night.
Yeah, you had the same text to me, I presume.
Yeah. It was, so you and me both know that. It's just obviously brand new car. It's just, unfortunately, it was built 2 weeks before this weekend, which is insane. Yep. So we do have a manual. There we go. So moving on into the top 4, Damien Wittek moving on. So congratulations to Damien. Obviously, Maximilian doing a great job regardless, trying his hardest, just not his day. He looks very relieved.
As we move it on to our next battle, it'll be Daniel Schrex versus Darius Malazinski. Both guys, very talented drivers. We have Darius Malazinski in that Spossop Motorsport S15 and Daniel Schrex in that F22 BMW. As we wait for the judges to send them down, Brandon.
Yep, so it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, 2 very interesting cars, 2 interesting drivers, but we'll have to see what they do in this run as we have the lights go red and go green. Darius in the lead, Daniel in the chase. Battle of the D's, as I'd say, as they lead the line. That Spossop Motorsport S15 just gapping Daniel. Darius is just gone. He's just absolutely flying as they come around through outside zone 3, coming around and transitioning through the middle. But Daniel manages to find the pace, manages to slowly dial in and get himself towards the door of Darius, but he doesn't manage to do it in time as they come across the line.
Yeah, absolutely there. We will have a look at the replay here. Let's have a look and see what happened there. So Daniel Schrex really initiating very, very late there as we have Darius Malazinski just running away there. Daniel Schrex doing a lot to catch up there to the Spossop S15 as we come around outer zone 3 here. Darius Malazinski not doing a whole lot wrong there as we have Daniel Schrex is making up the ground eventually there, but I think it's a little bit too little too late there for Daniel Schrex as we do get a little bit of wide there from the Spossop S15 as we wait for them to go back to the line and switch them around, and we will see what happens on the second half of this run. Daniel Schrex locked in there on the start line as we have Darius Malazinski to chase him in for the second half of this battle. They both get the thumbs up from the Marshal. Marshal illuminates the red lights as we get ready to send them down. The lights go green as Daniel Schrex leaves the start line. Darius Malazinski to chase in Daniel Schrex as they initiate into outer zone 1 here. A little bit of a gap forming there from the drivers as we see that Spossop S15 get back up onto the door. There goes a little bit wide of outer zone 3. Daniel Schrex leaves outer zone 3 a little bit early as they come through outer zone 4 here, down the hill, over the bump and into inner clip 5 and across the line. Interesting there. Let's see what happened on the replay as we have a look here. So a bit of a similar initiation there as last run, a little bit late from both drivers as we then see Darius Malazinski having to play a bit of wet catch up here as we come into outer zone 3. Let's see what happens. He just washes wide here, but with that then Daniel Schrex does leave the zone that little bit early as we transition back here. We see Darius trying to make up that little bit of ground, making a dive here onto the F22 BMW, and as we come in to inner clip 5 we still have a bit of a gap as we come over the bump as they come through inner clip 5 and across the line. So we will wait for the judges to drop in their scorecards to see who won this battle and who will be continuing to the top 4 in the semi-finals of this battle, of this round even, as both guys get out of the car, have a bit of a high five, say, yeah, that was a cool battle. Who will get the win here? They'll have a bit of a chat, they'll wave to the crowd, and if you're in attendance, do give them a round of applause. This is a very nice battle here from both guys. The judges will have to deliberate this a little bit just to make sure that they're seeing everything. There were a few mistakes from each driver there. They'll have to weigh up the pros and cons of each run from each driver. So let's see, they'll give us a bit of a wave as we do get a decision, and it will be Dariusz Malazinski to get the win, and he will be going through to the top 4 as they will get off track, and we'll move it on to the next battle here. This is a battle I'm very, very excited for. Patrick Detmer versus Vaclav Burian. Both guys, unbelievable drivers, and they will be throwing down for the last battle of this top 8 here. As we go back to the line, we can see Patrick Detmer is going to be leading out Vaclav Burian, and he gives us a little bit of a love heart. Patrick Detmer, always a very happy man, as we move over to the young gun Vaclav Burian in that E46 compact with that F22 kit on it. As he slots it into gear, the lights will illuminate when the marshal gives the go-ahead. As we wait for the track to be cleared, he gives them both the chance to give a thumbs up, make sure they're both ready. Patrick Detmer just cooling out the car there. We wait underneath the Motul start line there as he gets a thumbs up for both drivers, and we move away from the line. Burian will try to get a jump here on Patrick Detmer. Detmer is a very fast driver. Vaclav Burian to chase in Patrick Detmer in that E36 as we fire through outer zone 1 and outer zone 2. Vaclav Burian doing a very nice job trying to get up onto the door of the E36 here, doing everything he can to stay with Patrick Detmer as they transition here through the centre section. This is very nice from Vaclav Burian. This chase run is very good as they come over the bump. Right on the door of the E36 is Burian. Patrick Detmer not doing a whole pile wrong here in the lead position either, making it very easy for Vaclav to get up onto the door there. You cannot have a good chase without a good lead, and that's exactly what we got here from Patrick Detmer. The very good lead. You can see here hitting every zone, getting there nice and early, and staying within the zone for the duration of the zone. Vaclav Burian making use of that and getting up onto the door of the E36 of your 2025 champion here, and doing a very tidy job as we do wait for the second run here. We'll have to see what the judges make of that, and we've another half of the battle to go. Yeah, Patrick Detmer gonna be having to do a lot in the chase position here to make up the same amount of proximity. Vaclav Burian, a very fast driver with that E46 compact. As we send them back to the line here, we get both guys ready to go down. Patrick Detmer giving that fist up at the window, ready to throw down with Vaclav Burian as the marshal gives both our guys thumbs up. It illuminates the red lights. We will get the lights to go green, and they will come off the line. Vaclav Burian to lead in Patrick Detmer here as they initiate through outer zone 1 here, through outer zone 2 as they transition back here. Patrick Detmer wanting to be closer as Vaclav Burian was very, very close in the chase as he gets up onto the door of the E46 compact, and they fire around the corner now into inner clip 5 and across the line. Doing a very tidy job there in the chase was Patrick Detmer, Brendan.
Incredible driving from both of these drivers. Patrick Detmer really wanting to put on the pressure. Obviously, Vaclav Burian is here to prove a point with the power difference. As you can see, coming through into zone 3, doing an incredible job both in the lead and the chase. Definitely a bit of a shake-up to Patrick Detmer though. Look at the transition there from Patrick. Absolutely stellar. But you could tell he was... Vaclav Burian definitely has more pace than what the other drivers would expect. So you'll definitely have to see what the judges think of that as we get them around for their results. Incredible drivers, both of them. As you can see, they're giving a wave to the crowd. Incredible stuff. Obviously, Fakov would love to take down our newly crowned champion. Moving on into the top 4. Patrick Detmer moving on into the top 4, getting closer to his perfect weekend. He is loving it. He is just loving it. I don't think I've ever seen someone so happy. He knows. He just knows. I think this is going to be Patrick's dream weekend, obviously winning DMP 2025. And if he can try and win the event at the final, that's 3. He wants to try and get those 3 podiums. I do believe it might be for podiums on all 4. So there we have it. There is our top 4 for the final round of semi-pro. So we've got Bartolomej versus Damian Witek, and then we have Darius against Patrick Detmer. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one as we get them prepped for the top 4. As you can see there, we have representatives from Lexus coming onto the track and Toyota to show off their biggest and brightest cars in their fleet and their lineup. So you can get a hold of these yourself. So definitely worth a look at, because Lexus are known for their very luxurious cars. Even Toyota, obviously, 2 in the same brand, essentially sister companies. And it just goes to show the range of what they make. Obviously, they've got the Yaris, which is their small compact city car, all the way up to their SUVs. And they do have one of their vans there as well. So there's plenty of vehicle selection from both Toyota and Lexus there. So if you want to go and check them out and give a car a test drive, go and find your closest dealership, and you'll be able to have a chance of kind of testing one of these cars out and seeing if you want to get one of these as your future daily. My mother actually has a Lexus CT200H herself, so obviously they've stopped making them now. But incredible cars, Lexus and Toyota.
Very comfortable cars.
Yes, we to be fair, we've had a Toyota Picnic, we've had a Toyota Corolla Verso, and a Lexus CT200H. So pretty much all of our cars have been from Toyota Lexus since we first got one.
But ours were slightly older. We had a Celica GT4. We had the front wheel drive 11s. We've had Altezas. We've had lots of different Toyotas and Lexuses over the year, and yeah, we had some cool cars when I was growing up. But yeah, we will let, as you can see, as the guys are going around here, we have our marshals, our track staff. Big thank you to them. They're making sure that the lines are still painted on the track, making sure the drivers can see them, because they do get worn down. And you can see, as the marshal there at the back, he has a shovel. He's trying to shovel off a lot of the marbling there on the outside of the track. Because
it is so strange.
Lose a lot of grip for guys as they paint outer zone 5 now. They'll just make sure that that is all ready to go.
Kian, it's inner zone 5. We keep getting this. We need to lock in. We need to lock in and get it as an inner zone.
I'm gonna forget the inner and outer now. I'm just gonna call it clip 5.
Yeah,
it's clip 5.
Look at this. Even the photographers, which is capturing every moment, even when it comes to line painting, and that just goes to show how much detail there is in the media side. As you can see there, we are back in the pits checking out what's going on. I'm wondering whose car this is. As we look underneath, can we guess the car just from the underside of it?
I'm gonna say Alexandra Fial's car.
Potentially. I'm trying to figure out what subframe that is. It looks almost like an E30 rear.
To me, that looks very S13 underside.
Actually, no, yeah, you might.
No, I'm very much wrong. Oh,
are
am
we?
I wrong?
No, wait, no, I do think
Whose
you
car
are
is
right.
this?
It's on the Wise Fab, so I think it is Alexander Fial's S13. God, we are awful at mechanical knowledge. And we're meant to know a decent
Speak for
amount.
yourself. I worked in a garage for many years.
I know. We're sat there second guessing.
I just need to see the side of the card where it says the name, but the damn name tag is ripped off. God damn it!
I think that is Alexander Fial's. It does look like an S13.
Yeah, I think
yes,
that
it
might
is.
be her car.
Yes, it is.
I was right. Woo!
Hey, no, it was the rear. So the way the subframe went over, you could only see the front half of it because on the 36 compacts, the subframe is like one arm that kind of goes across the diff, and then it's like a really weird like chicken bone in some way. It's so strange.
Yeah, BMW, and that it's one of those things that's what gives BMWs their grip, the way they set up their rear. They have a lot of very good suspension points for drifting, and side bite really is encouraged there in that suspension setup. So something that I like to look into in my spare time is different suspension points and setups and stuff like that is very interesting to see. And a lot of guys now starting to play with maybe putting some BMW style suspension in the likes of S chassis and other cars. So very cool to see. And a lot of guys starting to run a lot of BMW powertrains, the likes of gearbox diffs and shafts in other vehicles now, because it's very they're very rigid, they're very solid. The gearboxes, the ZF gearboxes, tend to be very, very good depending on which one you get. A lot of guys starting to run them. So
I mean, one of the main things as well, the main gearbox I'm starting to see being ran from BMWs is the ZF 330D box. Incredible gearbox. I mean, I'm debating on getting one for my MX-5 for when I go more power, because let's be honest, MBMX-5 gearboxes, the 5-speeds especially, are made out of chocolate. So
well, the other side of this as well, with that, another gearbox that is ZF as well that a lot of people are starting to use. I think it's called the 8F. It's the DTC box, the electric gearbox, and people using it like a sequential. It's an automatic gearbox. People are using it and setting it up so it's like a sequential. And then they have a clutch as well that they can actuate, and it's very, very cool. It's quicker than
welcome to the top 4 now here at Semi-Pro. You were on a proper tangent there, weren't you, kid? Locked into
I like to nerd out about gearboxes.
So
as we do have our top 4.
Bartolomej versus Damian Vitek. We have Darius versus Patrick Detmer as well. So this is where it all comes down to. Patrick's obviously chasing that dream weekend of winning the championship and the final round. So we'll have to see what happens as we get the first set of cars to the line and prepared. As they still are in the holding area, so I do believe we're just making sure that everyone's in the right positions on track. As you can see there, you've got the city in the background with the actual airport itself. Are there any Ryanair flights there today? I do not know. If there are, God forbid the lower backs of all the passengers on the landings.
That's not that bad.
Oh, it is.
A couple of weeks ago, it's lovely.
Don't lie to yourself.
No, it was good. It was very comfortable. As we will go down to Victoria in the paddock here now.
Słuchajcie, jesteśmy w padoku, tutaj dzieje się naprawdę wiele rzeczy, bo to jest serce tych wszystkich wyścigów. Jak widzicie, u Oli Fiał pojawiła się awaria i mechanicy walczą o to, żeby mogła dalej walczyć o swoją pozycję w driftingowych mistrzostwach Polski. Także wielki szacunek dla mechaników, oni się tu naprawdę poświęcają, a my wam chcemy to pokazać, bo o tym się nie mówi, ale tu odbywa się prawdziwa walka o zwycięstwo.
So a little look at Alexander Fial's S13. So clearly there is something going on with it. A lot of work having to be done. I'm guessing there might have been a problem with the car after practice. As you can see, Jakub Ziąski down there. All the pro drivers getting ready to go. I can see an RCF down there as well. That's interesting. Really, really cool car. As we do now have them at the line, Bartolomej in that crazy F22. He's a man possessed this weekend. This is his best performance I've possibly seen him do all season. So let's see if he can keep this up, as he is sat really close in the chase lane. Unless, oh,
do we have a Byron? We do.
No, I can hear someone warming up tires
left there. So
oh yeah, so Bartolomej is going into the final under a Byron, unfortunately. So definitely not the way he probably would have wanted to get into the final. But he's just gonna. This is kind of a celebratory lap, to be fair for him.
Damian Wojtek obviously not making it through the line. Issues with that car, maybe.
Yeah, potentially.
Bartolome's doing a very extraordinary lead run there around the track.
So yeah, that will be Bartolomej moving on into the final. So this is definitely his dream round, really. His first podium.
Yeah,
of the season.
It would be Bartolomej Ozbrzeg versus either Dariusz Malezinski or Patrick Detmer, and whoever loses that battle will get third spot then, because Damian Wilczek cannot make it to the line.
Potentially.
Unless he has the car fixed for the third and fourth place battle.
But
that
we'll
could
have to
still
see,
be a possibility. We'll have to see, but
these battles do happen pretty quickly, so he hasn't got much time to get it done. Unless it goes into an OMT. So their team's going to have to hope that they can get as much time as they can. But I'm very happy for Bartolomej, honestly. Like, it's good to see him on form this weekend. But now we have Patrick Detmer at the line. Only P3 though in qualify. Obviously, I say only P3, but for Patrick, obviously being our champion, I know he wanted more. It would have been the perfect way to P1 qualify and win the round as well as the championship, but obviously he's still got the championship in the bag. But now, can he get himself into the final, as he has Jarvis in that spot on Motorsport S15 in the chase as they initiate now into our zone 1. A nice initiation between the two of them. Oh, Dariusz with a bit of a check up there, which causes him to lose ground as Patrick Detmer comes around in outside zone 3, doing a good job so far as they come around into the Manji. Dariusz getting a bit dangerous in that Manji section. It has to fall back again, just not getting the transition timings down, but Patrick Detmer does miss out on inner clip 5.
yeah, absolutely here. So let's break this down here. Dariusz Malezinski getting up onto the door of that E36 of Patrick Detmer, but having to kind of transition very early there and maybe having an issue with that car, not reading the transition right, maybe, who knows. But does get back up onto the door of Patrick Detmer, your 2025 champion, as they transition back here through the centre section. We get them to transition back towards outer zone 4, and a little bit of a gap forming there you can see from between both drivers, and you can see the line and the angle there from Malezinski is just not right, as Patrick Detmer does miss inner clip 5. Very interesting to say the least. Patrick Detmer will probably have the upper hand in this battle, but we will switch them around and see what happens, as we do only have one car on the line. And we can see Patrick Detmer coming around now again. We will get both those guys back on the line as we switch them around, Brandon.
Yep, so as we have them come back up to the line, let's see what they can do. As we have Patrick Detmer in the chase, Dariusz in the lead. So now we have Dariusz Malezinski. I actually said that right for once. In the lead. Obviously in that spot off Motorsport S15. It looks like they are pointing something out on the car though. So what is going on here? Are there cracks in the windscreen, or is there just smudges?
Maybe there's little chips off the glass there, and it's making them quite hard to see for him. That would be very unfortunate, but
he's just got to push.
These are the kind of things that you have to deal with.
Yep, I mean, cracked windscreens is something that you don't see often in drifting, to be fair, unless you make contact. But Dariusz now in the lead, Patrick Detmer in the chase. As you can see, Patrick Detmer trying to get the crawl to keep up with that spot of S15. as they initiate into out zone 1 for the final time of this battle, as the transition now coming in from out of 2 to out of 3. Patrick Detmer is right there on the side of Darius's S15, coming around now and transitioning across in, but just almost lunging a bit too far forward, but manages to make it work as they come across the line throughout inner clip 5. This is definitely something. This is a good battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick Detmer doing exactly what he needs to do here, doing a very good job in that chase position. As we have Darius doing an okay-ish lead line. There was a few mistakes here, as you can see. He's very late getting out to outer zone 3, but Patrick Detmer dealing with that very, very well. Getting back up onto the door last spot by S15 as we transition back here through the center section. You can see there's a little bit of a gap here, and Patrick does go for a little bit of a lunge and does end up missing outer zone 4, but managed to deal with it very well, managed to slow that E36 down and stay within the pocket of the spot of S15. So doing a very tidy job in the chase there, I say, is Patrick Detmer, showing why he is the champion, as them guys are very excited getting out of the cars as we do get a result, and it will be Patrick Detmer getting through to the final. And that means that Darius Malazinski potentially is in 3rd position. So it depends if Vicek gets his car to the line for the 3rd and 4th place playoff. But we will have a little bit of a break here, so guys can change tires before the final and the 3rd and 4th place playoff. As
I do think we are having a showcase.
Yaris, that Rally GR Yaris warming up some tires there, Brandon.
Hey, he's got to get a 99 run. So let's see. Oh, Patrick's going straight back to the line. Okay. That's going to be interesting. Doesn't need new tires, apparently. So, probably one of the craziest sounding 3 cylinders you can get on the market at the moment. I mean, well, you can't get it on the market. Obviously, it is modified with a custom exhaust, but these, I mean, you can buy these GR Yaris's in this spec. I'm pretty sure you can get them from Gazoo Racing directly for your rally team, but they are not cheap.
No, they are not, but that is the young Alexander Pelegansky in the driver's seat of that car. We saw this guy yesterday in qualifying, doing a few show runs in a drift car. He did a rally car and he did his go-kart. This man is 11 years of age. He has 7 championships to his name. It is unbelievable, the talent of this young man and what he is able to do in a car at 11 years of age, Brandon. I don't think I would have been able to do that at 11 years of age. I'm not sure what we were doing at 11 years of age. Definitely not doing donuts in a GR Yaris anyway.
Definitely a lot of talent there. Obviously, he's getting back out. So is he going to give a wave to the crowd, or is he? Yes, he is. He's going to give a wave to the crowd. What a legend. He's having a great time.
Definitely a young man with a bright future, I think, Brandon.
Oh, no, definitely. And this is the thing. The younger generation is the future of motorsport. So it's good to see them getting involved directly like this, rather than going into competitions. Like, they are also doing demos and stuff like they are showing that they are the bee's knees. But we have a GTR at the line now, and it is none other than Ben Collins, the stick himself. Oh, look at that helmet. That is some crazy paint job. But yeah, so he is obviously here to raise money for charity to buy ambulances for Poland. So if you want us to go and support that, make sure to go and head over to the VIP section. But look at the speed he is throwing that GTR around in. Wow. And this just shows why he's a professional grip racer. He can handle a car.
A couple of, I think he has a couple of qualifications. I'm not too sure, but
he's done 24 hour of Le Mans.
Yeah, I think he's well able to drive this. Not too, I wouldn't be an expert on the topic, but I would say the Stig is very much qualified to do these lift demos, especially in a car like this. Look at that, the GTR, unbelievable, lovely, lovely car. Badge that a lot of fans in the car scene have grown to love over the years, whatever generation it is, that or 35 beautiful, beautiful cars. We do have Camille down there to talk to Mr. Ben Collins, the Stig, as he gets out of the car. Do go down and support the fundraiser for the ambulance service of Poland, as we do throw down to Camille.
Ben Collins with us. Hi Ben, once again.
Dzień dobry Poznań. Great to be here.
So yesterday Ferrari, today the GTR, why?
It's a great car. It's four-wheel drive, and I've not been drifting it, but I've been using it for passenger rides at high speed around the racetrack, which is great. So anyone that wants to come and join me can bid on that in the red tent. We have the silent auction and raising money for the ambulance for Fun and Drive. So perfect day for a fast car.
Wczoraj pytałem Bena, bo jeździł tutaj w czerwonym Ferrari, mówił, że to jego ulubione auto. No dzisiaj zamiana, jak widzicie, na GTR-a. Jeśli macie ochotę przejechać się z Benem, czerwony namiot, tam można wylicytować z nim przejażdżkę. Zbieramy hajs na karetkę. So, the track in Poznań, you told us yesterday that you're really enjoying it, but I saw that you lose a little bit of control on this run.
I never lose control. Yeah, Poznan's one of my favorite tracks. I think it's great. It's fast. It has no really slow corners, which I approve of. So racing drivers like going fast above all things. So I love it. It's really old-fashioned, old school, the right scale.
So drift, you will try to drift one day, or the rally is your thing?
I like going as fast as possible. I enjoy sliding, and drifting is super cool. I think there's some very tough competition in Poland. It might be a little bit late, but it's never too late. I might take a drifting lesson and come back.
Widzieliśmy, że tutaj Ben szalał na tych zakrętach, mówi, że bardzo lubi ten tor, bo jest bardzo szybki i o to głównie chodzi i on taką jazdę najbardziej lubi. Zapytałem go, czy próbował kiedyś w driftingu, mówi, że tutaj za mocna stawka, ale że jeszcze nie odkłada kasku i może kiedyś się to uda. So, if somebody want to join you, what cars are you driving today? The GTR and what you got in on the garage?
So you can choose. We have the Dodge Challenger, the Nissan GTR and the Toyota Supra. I'm mostly using the Supra because it's rear-wheel drive and people smile the most.
Zapytałem Bena, jakimi autami można się przejechać. No można GTR-em, można Suprą. No i ta Supra preferowana przez tych, którzy chcą jeździć, bo no, daje najwięcej emocji. So, good to have you here. I hope you're having fun. So, see you next time. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy the drift. See you out there. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Ben Collins, Stig, drodzy Państwo. Wielkie brawa.
What a legend. I grew up with the Stig. Obviously, Top Gear was part of my childhood. So to have him here involved with this sport that we all love is an honor to have him here. I can't stress that enough. But that just goes to show how much motorsports brings people together, whether it be drifting, grip racing, rally, go-karting, Formula One. No matter what, we're all here for the same thing. We love the sport. We love cars. We love anything with wheels and motors. And that's all that matters. But Dariusz is going to be getting a Byron, which means he does get third place here at the final of DMP2025 in the semi-pro class. So he's just going to go and do his Byron and have some fun. What a way to finish the weekend for him. Just going to see that. Ooh, just getting very close with the outside edge off the track. Doing a solid job though as he comes around outside zone 3. This is just all fun for him. He can just let loose and just put on a good lap as he comes through inner clip 5 and across the line. So that is our third place driver for semi-pro. What an incredible weekend it has been for David. David? I almost said David Sponsov because it's a sponsor on Motorsport S15, but no, great weekend for Dariusz there. So he is going to be, well, like we say in the UK, he's going to be gassed that he got third. So we're just going to watch the rest of this replay and just enjoy what this car can do. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Rocket Bunny S15. It's just gorgeous cars as he comes across the line there. And obviously, we're going to get that all locked in incredible stuff there from Darius. And obviously, welcome to the final of Semi-Pro at DMP 2025.
Patrick Detmer to lead out Bartolomej Ozorjek. Bartolomej having a brilliant day today. He's going to be loving life. He is guaranteed a podium here, whether that's first or second spot on the podium, but he has to go through Patrick Detmer to see which one he has to get. So we will see what happens here. It's a bit, I would say it's a bit frightening to go against the 2025 champion, the current semi-pro champion. We will see what happens here as the lights go red. We wait for them to go green, and we will send them down the track through the start line chicane. Bartolomej to chase out the E36 of Patrick Detmer as they initiate into outer zone 1. Bartolomej having to make up a little bit of ground already here as they transition back towards outer zone 3. Bartolomej getting up onto the door of that E36 now as he press the mosey that front end towards that E36 as they transition now back towards outer zone 4. And Patrick Detmer doing an incredible lead line here, exactly what he's known for. Fluidity, and his line is unbelievable, but he will have to switch him around and do a bit of chasing now, Brandon.
Yep, definitely. I mean, this was a good run between the two of them. Obviously, Patrick Detmer's known for his fluidity and his pace. So for Bartolomej to keep up is a really, really good achievement there. Decent chase, just the proximity was there, just not quite where it could have been. Obviously, being in the bigger and slightly heavier car definitely does have its disadvantages, but then again, the E36 you do have to really put in some grip into those to get them to be fast. As you can see, there, as they come across the line, definitely could have been a bit closer. So all Patrick Detmer has to do is put on a closer chase, and obviously Bartolomej has to put on a stellar lead. So we'll have to see how it goes. Anything, but like I said though, it's drifting. Anything can happen. We'll have to see what happens as Patrick Detmer is at the line, waving the door to get the heat out, because these cars run really hot on the inside. As Bartolomej now closes his door as we get the lights to go red. And now we're going to go green. This is your final battle, final run of DMP 2025 Semi-Pro. Here we go. Patrick Detmer in the chase. Bartolomej in the lead. Look at this from Patrick Detmer right on the rear of Bartolomej there. Does lose a bit of ground though as they come around into outside zone 3. Patrick Detmer has to try and get the dive onto the side of that F32 as they come around through the margin section. Look at this transition from Patrick Detmer as they come through out of zone 4. Absolutely stellar stuff here from both of these drivers, but he pushes Bartolomej through in the clip 5 and across the line. Oh my word.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. I think Bartolomej was on the wrong line there for outer zone 2, so that's why he pulled a bit of a gap there on Patrick Detmer. Let's have a look here. As Patrick Detmer's right on that line, you see Bartolomej shallow off angle, miss outer zone 2 and make the transition a little bit early. Patrick Detmer making the ground back up very, very quick here. You can see that dive in the E36, sacrifices a bit of line to get up onto the door of the F22. Does just that, and he is right on the door as they come out of the end of outer zone 3. Look at this transition here from Patrick Detmer. Absolutely precision here from the driver of the E36 as we come through outer zone 4 here and gets pushed up onto the door and pushes Bartolomej across the line. There is even contact there in the chase, but that was an incredible chase run from Patrick Detmer. And I think that shows off why he is the 2025 semi-pro champion of DMP.
Yep, no, definitely. Patrick Detmer is just been absolutely on it for the entire season. Obviously, this is Bartolomej's first podium in DMP, so either way, this is a big moment for him this season as we get the crowd cheering. And obviously, this is our last time seeing these faces until next season now. Obviously, we've got the podium, but your winner at the final of DMP 2025 Semi-Pro, Patrick Detmer, taking the win at the final. What a weekend for Patrick. Bartolomej getting second place, but Patrick is your 2025 DMP champion. Camille is here with Patrick Detmer. Let's get the scope and see what he says.
Patrick Detmer z nami. Pierwsze co powiedział, to nie wierzę. Jak to nie wierzysz? No przecież tu nie mogło być inaczej. Przypieczętowanie na ostatniej rundzie.
Nie wiem co powiedzieć, bo to był ciężki rok i naprawdę mój team dawał z siebie wszystko. Przepraszam, ale nie dam rady chyba.
Spoko. Nie pozostaje nic innego, jak tylko się cieszyć. Wasz zwycięzca czwartej rundy i sezonu 2025, Patryk Detmer. To co, widzimy się za jakąś godzinkę, tak, jak ochłoniesz?
Tak, chciałem bardzo serdecznie podziękować tutaj kibicom, bo cały czas czuję wasz doping na plecach i to on mnie pcha na te podium cały czas, także dziękuję wam bardzo.
Jak słyszeliście, podziękowania dla kibiców. Patryk Detmer, zwycięzca klasy semi-pro w sezonie 2025. Dzięki, no i do zobaczenia jeszcze dzisiaj, bo się nie żegnam.
Nie żegnamy się, dziękuję.
What a guy. Oh, God, that started to choke me up a bit. I may not speak Polish, but I can understand the emotion behind Patrick Detmer there. That is a beautiful thing to see. And wow, what a way to finish the season. And here we go. This is your final standings of semi-pro here at DMP 2025, Kian.
Yeah, Patrick Detmer clearly getting the win there. 402 points to finish off the season. Maximilian Maikos in second position. And Bartolomej Ozorczyk getting third place overall, getting a podium for the season. Then it's followed closely by Wojtek Fabisiak and Wojtek Gojovic, Dariusz Malazinski, Mateusz Woldersig, Vaclav Buryan in 8th position, Bartosz Ostalowski in 9th, Magdalena Malazinska in 10th.
What a way to finish. I mean, Bartolomej kind of just coming out of nowhere and just getting into that top three. Absolutely insane.
Then we have Michał Gorzałewski in 11th, Daniel Pelikan in 12th. Here he's Zamfir in 13th, Damian Wojtek in 14th, Daniel Schrecks in 15th, Sebastian Karaszewski in 16th, Mike Tesler in 17th, Kamil Zarzecki as well. And that will be your season, Brandon. What a semi-pro season this has been. It has been nothing but excitement from start to finish.
Yes, it has, Kian. It has been incredible. But once again, though, this is only just semi-pro. We do have our top 32 for pro. So make sure to tune in. Thank you for watching the entirety of semi-pro. But we are going to be moving on into the top 32 shortly. So let's see you there.